Wagwan, Lazarettes, welcome back to the King's Catalogue, where today I wanted to review an old trusty series that ended a couple years ago. This show is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which you might be wondering, why are you reviewing this? This is 2 years old. Netflix for the UK only just got it a few weeks ago, and I've just been watching it. So I wanted to review it all in just one big video. I couldn't review it day one because it just wasn't in the UK. What is Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a comedy cop series about a ragtag group of police officers who try and do all their arrests and do all their good hijinks with a whole lot of comedy sprinkled in between. The cast is also created of many famous actors. I'll go through them in a second, and they basically just try and live their life being policemen while balancing work and balancing friendship as well. It's real heartwarming, guys. It's lovely. So the main character of this show is called Jake. He is obviously the main character. He's goofy. He's a great detective, but he just can't stop being too silly. He loves his movies, and I find him to be probably the most relatable character in the show. His love interest is named Amy, who is an OCD-ridden character who just often in times just sucks up to the next character, Captain Holt, who is obviously the police captain. He's basically the big boss, so he's like the authority role, like guardian figure, like your parent. So Jake, Amy, and maybe just mainly Jake and Amy, they look to him like a parent, and they always want to make him proud. Another person that is proud of Jake is Charles, who is Jake's best friend. He's called Charlie Boyle, and his whole shtick is that he's a goofy individual, and he's just like a boil. That's his whole shtick. He's also like Jake's right hand man. Anytime they do a duo, they need a duo for the police, Jake and Charles are on it. And the next character is literally just Terry Crews. They could just call him Terry. He literally is just Terry Crews, though. They don't change anything apart from that he's a police officer now rather than an actor. He's just big muscly man who eats a lot of yogurt. He's literally just Terry Crews in real life. And the next character is called Gina, who is the police assistant. She's not technically an officer, she just works in the area, and is a childhood friend of Jake's. So I think he got her the job. It's not important, this is just going through the characters. She's just basically she's basically what old people think modern people are like the youth. She's like on her phone, she loves her TikTok and her Twitter. She's basically, literally just old people not understanding how younger people work. She's basically that in a character. Rosa is the next character. It's supposed to be the badass. I don't think she's that much of a badass. She tried to be. I'll be honest with you, out of all the characters, I think she's probably the weakest. But yeah, she's just like a motorcycle, skull, crossbones, angry, deep character. If you want my favourite two characters, I'll put them as one slot because they're basically together. It's Hitchcock and Scully, who are two rotund people, and they're basically just a bit of comic relief. I would separate them, as I said, but they're literally just the same person. They're just two round people who just get into hijinks, and I love them. They're probably one of my favourite characters in the whole show. I think a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but I think they're absolutely fucking hilarious. I find it relatable to myself being a rotund man. Now I want to go through some of the pros of this series because it has quite a few. Good comedy. This show does its jokes well. There's parts where the jokes are either predictable or just a bit boring, but I think the jokes usually are pretty good, mainly on Jake's behalf. But some of Captain Holt being like autistic or something where he just doesn't understand jokes, that's pretty comical as well. And Terry Crews referring himself every time in the third person it's a character trait, I guess. That's something. But the comedy was good on this. It's a light-heart show. It's a perfect show for a one-off episode as well. If you just want to watch one episode, then go do your things, it's perfect for it. It does have an overarching story, but it's really not important. It's similar to like The Big Bang Theory or How I Met Your Mother. You really can just watch them as one-off series. So as a one-off episode, but you don't need to. It's just if you really want to, you can binge watch them, which really doesn't matter. The actors play the characters really well. The only characters I said before was Rosa that I really just didn't enjoy. She was supposed to be like the femme fatale, but she just didn't really, seem very dangerous. She just seemed a bit goofy. She seemed like a teenager going through a phase, but there's always going to be some cons in the series. But all the other actors like Terry, Rosa, Gina, they all play it well. Jake seems like, I don't know, a good goofy character, and like Charles is a great character. But yeah, that's basically that. I tried to think of some cons. As I said before, some of the jokes don't hit, but that's just as every show would. You can't expect every joke to be amazing. But some of the plot points are pretty predictable. The only time this isn't the case is when they do the heist episodes, which really do turn your expectations, but most of the time it is pretty predictable. But yeah, it's just something that you need to work on sometimes. It's just the writing isn't always the best, but that's just how shows are. And this is just some personal things. I used to watch this show a lot when I was younger, so I might have a slight bit of bias for this because I did enjoy this show. It's one of them shows that I think a lot of people probably wouldn't enjoy, but I did really enjoy. So with all that in mind, I'm going to give this show a score of 8. I think that fits perfectly on the King's Catalogue. Any higher would have been a bit too much because I gave Breaking Bad a 9. So I think I maybe get 9.5 actually. It's not near Breaking Bad. It's a good show, but it's not that good. Anyway, thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Check out the Doghouse podcast for some great chat. And yeah, I'll see you in another video. See ya.